Welcome to the practice of Dancing Warrior. This is the Vinyasa flow, so quite a strong practice. If you wish to do a slightly easier practice of Dancing Warrior, then take yourself to the mindful movement one. This one we're going to be doing some of the knee down Dancing Warriors and some in standing. So quite a strong practice, as I've said. I'm going to be using the push-up planks as well in this class. But if you choose not to use the push-up planks, then feel free just to do the vinyasa that you would normally do. So that's when you lower to the floor, come through to a back bend, and then take yourself back to downward facing dog. If you're staying with me, we'll lower towards a hover off the floor, then push back up into full plank. It will just work at strengthening the shoulders. So very similar vinyasa to what we did in last week's class, if you followed that. So starting in seated, and I want you to think about grounding through the sit bones. Now, choice can be to have the legs crossed or have the feet out in front or sit on the knees, whichever works for you better. Just finding a comfortable space for a few moments. Place the hands on top of the thighs. Take a breath in, roll the shoulders up towards the ears. Grow tall through the spine, then let those shoulders relax down towards the hips. Take a close of the eyes. Take a scan of the body from the top of the head all the way down to the tips of the fingers, tips of the toes, just checking in with how your body feels as you've arrived on the mat. Today, whatever time of day that may be, morning, lunchtime, evening, your choice to practice anytime, any place, anywhere. When you've taken that mental scan of the body, bring the attention to your breath and just notice how your breath is coming in and out of the body, whether it's sitting high up in the chest, whether it's going into the lower ribs, or whether you're breathing that breath nice and deep into the belly. Just being mindful of your own automatic breath. Then we're going to take some box breathing here. Box breathing is counting in for 4 on the inhale, holding for 4 at the top, and then counting 4 down on your exhale, and holding for 4 at the bottom of the breath, retaining the breath. So take a breath in first, in through the nose. Sigh it out through the mouth. Take another breath in through the nose. Then if you're happy to bring that breath out through the nose at this point, just breathing that breath in and out through that nasal passage, that more cleansing breath. Your next breath in, count 2, 3, 4, hold for 4, 2, 3, 4, and out breath. 2, 3, 4. Hold at the bottom. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold at the top. 2, 3, 4. And out. 2, 3, 4. Hold at the bottom, 2, 3, 4, breath in, 2, 3, 4, retain at the top, 2, 3, 4, breathe out, 2, 3, 4, retain at the bottom, 2, 3, 4, breath in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, normal breath here. Opening the eyes, taking a breath in, bring the hands up and over the head, bring the palms together at the top. Then bringing your right hand to your left knee, your left hand behind, rotate to the left. Breath in, come back to the center, hands come to the ceiling. Then bringing your left hand to the right knee, right hand behind and twist to the right. Come back towards center, arms back up towards the ceiling. Then bringing your left hand down, reaching over with your right hand to the left side of the room. Come back to center, take it over to the opposite direction. Right hand down, reaching over with the left hand. Come back to center. Bring the hands down in front of the body. Walk the hands forward, pivoting from the hips, keeping the sit bones nice and grounded into the mat. Then walk the hands over to your right side, just bringing that chest over that right thigh. Even if those legs are straight or the knees, we're sat on the knees, wherever you are, just take it to these places. Walk it back through center. Take the hands over to the left side. Let that chest sink over that left thigh. Walk back to the center. Just let the breath come out in neutral spine. Walk the hands back up. If you've got the legs crossed, change the cross. So bring the other foot in front. Let those legs relax. Take a breath in, bring the hands up to the ceiling. On your breath out, right hand comes to left knee, left hand behind, rotates. Back to the center, hands come back up to the ceiling. And then take it to the opposite direction, left hand to right knee, right hand behind, and rotate. Come back to the center, palms come back together. Bringing your left hand down, reach over with the right hand, lateral flexion through the spine. Back to the center, and reach over to the right side, right hand down, reaching over with the left hand. Back to the center, bring the hands down in front of you, walk the hands forward, pivoting from the hips, letting that body relax over those feet or those legs. Walk the hands over to your right side and let that chest sink over that right thigh. Come back through center, take it over to the left side, let the chest sink over that left thigh. Come back to center, take a breath out in that neutral place. Then lift those shoulders back over the hips, bring the hands behind, tent the fingers, lift up the chest, the chin, the gaze, pushing those ribs forward, then lifting the lower ribs up to flare, taking it into a back bend. Think about, keep lifting that lower belly up, tucking that tailbone down to the floor so we don't dump into that lower back. Then bring those shoulders back over those hips. Make your way into tabletop, so bringing the heel of the hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips, tops of the feet flat. Just take a little spinal articulation of cat-cow. Breath in, lifts the bum, lifts the head, drops the belly. Breath out, fold everything back in, chin comes to the chest, tailbone tucks. Take it through those two places to your breath. Maybe closing the eyes, switching into that internal feeling of the body, of the spine as it moves in and out of flexion and extension. Making those breaths nice and long, making the movement nice and slow. The next time you come through neutral place, hold it in that place. Then step both feet back to a plank. Holding it in plank for a few breaths. Soften the elbows, widen the fingers, push those hands nice and firmly into the mat. And then lift those hips up to your downward facing dog space. Encouraging those heels either towards the mat in stillness or having a paddle of the feet in as it's the first downward facing dog. But try not to have walked those feet any further forward. Think about that long downward facing dog position, not too short of that space in between the feet and the hands. We're going to take 3 vinyasas, but we're going to do our push-up plank in between. So come forward to plank on the inhale. Option 1 is to drop the knees and tuck the toes, turn the creases of the elbows, bring the body down to a hover. Then push into those hands, lift that chest away. If you wish to just finish a vinyasa here, feel free to do so. Then release all the way to the floor, push into the hands, maybe a little baby cobra. Release the chest back down, tuck under the toes, chest comes back to the thighs. Then push into those hands, push into the feet, lift up the hips and squeeze those heels back. So option 1, if you wish to stick with that. Option 2 is coming forward to a plank position. Keeping a nice long line, turn the creases of the elbows, let the elbows graze the ribs as you come to a hover. Then push back into those hands to lift that chest away from the floor, or finish a vinyasa of your choice from here. The next breath out, we release all the way to the mat, we untuck the toes, we push into the hands, maybe come up to a higher up dog. Then release that chest back down, tuck under with the toes, bring the chest back towards those thighs. Push into the hands, push into the feet, lift up the hips and squeeze those heels back. So you can take option 1 or 2 if you want to continue with the knees down, if you're doing push-ups, or if you don't want to do push-ups and you want to challenge yourself with that straight body lower. Work these vinyasas to your own ability, work them to your strengths. So option 3 comes forward to a plank position. Release down to a hover, elbows grazing the ribs. Push into the hands, find that full plank position. Then release back down to a hover, roll over the toes, lift the chest, thighs stay away. Then making your way back to down dog, either chest to thighs or rolling straight over those toes. Lifting those hips, squeezing those heels back to our down dog place. Encouraging the heels to the mat or that paddle of the feet. Try not to shorten that down dog so we get good movement through our vinyasas. So all those choices are there to take, progressions or regressions, whichever works for you. So we're going to start with the flow now. We're doing knee down, dancing warrior for the first few flows, and then we'll start to lift that back knee eventually. So we have 3 poses on that right side. Breath in, raise up that right leg, hips stay nice and neutral. Raise the right leg as high as you can, squeeze the left heel to the floor as much as you can. Then bring that right knee in towards the chest. Take a gaze in between the hands as you step your right foot through. Help it through if you need to. Drop the back knee and tuck the back toes. Raise the arms to find warrior 1 position with that back knee dropped. Push energetically into the sole of that right foot and into the top of that left foot. If you need to pad the knee on that left side, pad the knee. If you wish to gaze up to the ceiling, gaze up to the hands, either hands apart or palms together, whichever you wish to take. Holding it here just for another couple of breaths. Pushing those hips forward and trying to engage through that centre line, that core strength. Tethering of the ribs and hips, maybe a slight lift of that pelvic floor. Taking it to warrior 2, knee dropped, right hand forward, left hand back, turn, twist to the left, palms face down, shoulders are turning, hips are turning slightly as well. That right knee stays bent, that left knee stays dropped to the floor, and we feel that stretch of the hands from the front to the back of the room, keeping that lower belly lifted, tailbone tucked. Turn the right palm, reach forward with the right hand, send it up to the ceiling, left hand down the back of that left leg to find reverse warrior, back knee down. Relaxing the shoulders, breathing into that rib cage on the right side. Maybe gazing up into that right palm. Hold it just for another breath. Then bring those hands down either side of that right foot. Tuck your back toes under, lift up the back knee. Step your right foot back to plank. And lift the hips back to a down dog. So we're going to take a vinyasa here with the push-up plank. If you don't wish to do the push-up plank, make your way through your vinyasa, meeting us back in down dog. If you're coming with me, come forward to a plank. I'm taking option 1, dropping the knees, turning the creases of the elbows and tucking the toes. Bring myself down to a hover, then push back up into full plank. Release back down to the floor, push into the hands, lift up the chest into an up dog. Then releasing the chest back down, tucking under the toes or just rolling straight over the toes with straight legs. Back to down dog, lifting the hips, squeezing those heels back. So taking that exact same movement on the other side. So your breath in raises up that left leg, squeezes that right heel to the floor, hips stay nice and neutral. Then bring that knee into the chest, gaze in between the hands, come onto the toes of the back foot as you step your left foot through. Drop your right knee down and tuck the toes, push into the mat with the feet as you raise the arms to find that warrior 1 arm with the back knee dropped. Feel like you're pushing strong into the mat to stabilise, maybe gazing up to the hands to challenge the balance. Relax the shoulders, push those hips forward, engage through those abdominals. Feel like you're tethering those ribs and hips, maybe lifting that pelvic floor, that sensation of stopping that urination. Then bring yourself to warrior 2. Your left hand comes forward, your right hand comes back. You turn the shoulders to the right, the gaze to the left fingertips if you wish to find that drishti point, that focal point. Both arms in line with the shoulders, straightening the arms with the triceps. Holding it in this space, still keeping that push into the mat. Then turning that left hand, facing it up to the ceiling, reach forward. Bring your right hand down the back of the right thigh, left hand lifts, maybe gaze into that left palm. Breathing that breath into that left rib cage. Expanding on the inhale. And then letting everything squeeze back to let that air out on the exhale. Then wingmill the hands down either side of that left foot. Tuck your back toes under, lift the back knee, step your left foot back to a plank. Then lift the hips back to down dog, stretching through the back of those calves, those hamstrings. Then taking a vinyasa of your choice, either choice to do the push-up plank or just flow your vinyasa. Forward to plank on the inhale and option 2. Releasing down to a hover, elbows graze the ribs, then push back up into full plank. Then release back down to the floor, onto the toes. Push into the hands, lift up the chest. Release that chest back down, tuck under with the toes. Chest comes back to the thighs. Push into the hands and feet. Lift up the hips. Squeeze those heels back. Finding yourself back in that downward facing dog space. So the next flow is going to be 3 more poses on one side, 3 on the other, slightly different to what we've just done, but still based around those warrior poses with the knee down. Breath in, raise that right leg up to the ceiling, hips stay neutral, left heel squeezes to the floor, right heel lifts nice and high. Bring that knee into the chest, come onto the toes of the back foot as you step your right foot through. Drop your left knee down and tuck the toes, raise the arms up to warrior 1 just for a breath. Then lean forward with the torso, taking that flying warrior, pushing into the sole of the right foot, top of the left foot, using the stability of the feet, pushing into the mat to keep that support of the body, that balance, that equilibrium. Thinking about those arms being lifted as high as you can, trying to take them out your peripheral vision, either side of the face. Then lift those shoulders back over the hips, bring your left hand forward, your right hand back. Twisted, rotated warrior, turning the shoulders to the right side of the room. Palms are facing out to the right side also. Still pushing into that mat, still lifting that lower belly up to protect that lower back. Thinking about switching on those muscles in the belly, lifting that pelvic floor. Then bring your right hand down the back of the left leg and lift the left hand up to the ceiling. Rotated, reversed warrior. Breathing into that left rib cage, maybe gazing up to that left hand. Nice, long, easy breaths here. Then windmill the hands down, either side of that right foot. Tuck your back toes under, lift up your back knee, step your right foot back to meet the left, find plank. Then lift those hips, squeeze those heels back, gazing back towards the toes, the knees or the hips. Relaxing through those shoulders, nodding, shaking the head. Take a vinyasa of your choice. I'm going option 3, but remember you can drop the knees if you need to. Drop out the push-up planks if you wish. Release down to a hover, elbows graze the ribs. Push into the hands to lift the chest away, full plank. Release down to the hover again. Roll over the toes, lift up the chest, thighs stay away. Making your way back to down dog, lifting the hips. Squeezing those heels back, having a nod, shake of the head. To take those 3 poses on the opposite side, weight comes into your right foot as you lift your left leg, hips stay neutral, right heel squeezes to the floor. Then bring that knee into the chest, come onto the toes of the back foot as you bring that left foot through. Drop that back knee and tuck the toes, raise the arms to your low lunge position for a breath. Then lean forward with the torso into that flying warrior. Relax the shoulders down, use the back muscles to hold that torso at that 45-degree angle. Maybe lift those arms out of the eye gaze a little higher. Finding that strength in the deltoid muscles of the shoulders to lift the arms away and back, almost level with the ears. Then lift those shoulders back over the hips, this time right hand forward, left hand back, palms facing to the left, shoulders turning to the left. Neutral hips facing the front edge of the mat, shoulders facing the long edge of the mat, into our twisted warrior. Then bring your left hand down the back of the right thigh, reach your right hand up, breathe into that rib cage, maybe gaze into that right palm. Keep pushing into the floor with both feet. Keep that lower belly lifted. Try not to impinge that lower back. Then on your out breath, windmill the hands down. Either side of the left foot, tuck the back toes under, lift the back knees, step back to plank. Lift the hips, squeeze the heels back to down dog. Have a nod, shake of the head. Then take a vinyasa with either the push-up plank if you wish, forward to plank on the inhale, and back to option 1, turning the creased elbows, untuck the toes, release to a hover, push into those hands, lift the chest away, release back down with a straight body, push into the hands, lift up the chest, release the chest down, tuck under the toes, either bring those chests back to the thighs or rolling straight over the toes. With straight legs, lifting the hips, squeezing the heels back. Then just coming down onto the knees, finding child's pose just for a couple of breaths. Then we're going to do all those 6 poses knee down, once on the right, once on the left. Then after that, we're going to take everything again, but with the knee lifted. So it will need a little bit more stability to the floor as we move through those transitions. One more breath here, maybe a chance to take on a water break. Then finding that tabletop position first, heel of the hands under the shoulders, step back to plank, soften the elbows a little, then lift the hips back to down dog without fussing with those hands and feet, trying to encourage those heels back. Put your weight into your left foot as you raise that right leg up to the ceiling. Bring that knee into the chest, gaze in between the hands as you step your right foot through. Drop your back knee, untuck the toes, raise the arms. Find that high, low lunge position, warrior 1. Then turn the shoulders, right hand forward, left hand back, finding warrior 2, back knee down. Turn the right palm, reach forward, then raise the hand to the ceiling, left hand down the back of the left leg, breathing into that space of that rib cage on that right side body. Then bring those shoulders back, Warrior two, arms, scoot the left arm down, around, forward to meet the right. Reach up with both arms for a breath, then find that flying warrior. Reaching forward with the hands, pushing strong into those feet, lifting those arms up with those deltoid muscles. Then lift those shoulders back over the hips. This time left hand forward, right hand back, twisted warrior, facing the right, hips facing the front of the mat, palms facing the right side of the room. Bring your right hand down the back of the left thigh as you reach the left hand to the ceiling, taking twisted reversed warrior. Then windmill the hands down either side of that right foot, back toes tuck under, lift the back knee, step the right foot back to meet the left, find plank. Then lift the hips, squeeze the heels back, find downward facing dog. Your choice, Vinyasa, either with the push-up plank, option 1, 2 or 3. Forward to plank, I'm taking option 2, release to a hover, elbows graze the ribs. Push into the hands, lift the chest away. Release down to the floor, under the toes. Push into the hands, lift up the chest into your up dogs. Then release that chest back down, tuck the toes under, chest comes back to the thighs. Push into the hands and feet, lift up the hips and squeeze those heels back. So we're now going to be taking our warriors with both knees lifted. If you don't wish to have both knees lifted, keep going with what we've just done, keeping that back knee down. If you're coming with me, right leg lifts, hips stay neutral, left heel squeezes to the floor. Bring that knee into the chest, gaze in between the hands as you step your right foot through. Drop your left heel down to the mat, shoulders and hips face that short edge as you raise the arms to find that warrior one position. Think about lifting that lower belly up, lifting the arms up with those deltoid muscles of the shoulders. Palms coming together, pushing into those palms to activate those arms. Maybe gaze to the hands so you can feel that balance being challenged as you lift the gaze to the ceiling. Keep that right knee bent, left leg straight, push into that outside edge of that left foot. Then find warrior two, right hand forward, left hand back. Sink into that right knee a little more if you wish. Bums are tucking under, spines are tall, crown is being drawn up to the ceiling, arms being drawn to either front and back of the room. Then turn that right palm, reach forward, raise that hand to the ceiling, left hand either down the back of the left leg or find a bind onto that right thigh. Stay nice and low in the hips, breathing into that space of that right rib cage. Then windmill those hands down, either side of that right foot, step back to plank. Lift the hips back to down dog. Hold it in down dog for a breath, making sure you've got that good alignment, feet hip width apart, hands shoulder width apart, pushing into the whole of those hands. Forward to plank on the inhale, I'm taking option 3, release to a hover. Push into those hands, lift the chest away, full plank. Release back to a hover or to the floor if you wish. Roll over the toes, lift up the chest. Make your way back to down dog. I'm going straight over the toes with straight legs, or bring chest back to thighs, or meeting in that downward facing dog space. Ready to take it on the left side with those same 3 poses. Weight into your right foot as you lift that left leg, hips stay neutral, lift that left heel as high as you can. Then bring that knee into the chest, gaze in between the hands, come onto the toes of the back foot as you step your left foot through. Drop your right heel down internally, raise the arms and the shoulders over the hips, stay bent into that left knee. Try and keep those hips and shoulders facing that short edge of the mat. Push energetically into that outside edge of the right foot. Palms can come together to activate the arms. Bring the arms back as much as you can. Try not to flare the ribs, but maybe gaze up to those hands to challenge the balance. Warrior 1. Then finding warrior 2, your left hand comes forward, right hand comes back to find the hands at shoulder height. Sink into that left knee a little more. Head stacked on top of the tailbone. Arms long, shoulders relaxed. Pushing nice and strong into both feet, turning that left knee out to the left side of the mat. Turn the left palm, reach forward, raise that left hand to the ceiling. Right hand go down the back of the right leg or find the bind onto that left thigh. Reversed warrior. Remember all the time you can keep that back knee down if you wish, taking the same as what we did at the start. Then on your out breath, windmill the hands down, either side of the left foot, step yourself back to a plank, hold it in plank for a breath. Lift the hips without fussing with the hands and feet back to that down dog space. Taking a vinyasa of your choice, I'm going back to that option 1 version, forward to plank inhale. Drop the knees and tuck the toes, turn the creases of the elbows, release to a hover, or all the way to the floor if you're not doing the push-up plank. If you're with me, push back up. Release back down to the floor. Push into the hands, lift the chest. Make your way back to down dog, either chest to thighs or rolling straight over those toes. Lifting those hips, squeezing those heels back. So we're taking those 3 different poses now on that right side. When we've done the right and left, we'll take all 6 together. Put the weight into your left foot, raise your right leg up to the ceiling, hips stay neutral, left heel squeezes back. Bring that knee into the chest, gaze in between the hands, step your right foot through. Then keeping the toes of the back foot, raise the arms up to find high lunge just for a breath. Then lean forward with that flying warrior, reaching as much as you can with the fingertips to the front, bending into that right knee, straightening the back leg, pushing into the toes of the back foot, whole of the front foot, relax the shoulders down. Then lift those shoulders back over the hips. Your left hand comes forward, your right hand comes back, turn, twisted warrior, turning to the right, still keeping the front knee bent, the back leg straight. Try not to lean too far forward. Bring those shoulders back, but turn them to that long edge. Bring your right hand down the back of your left thigh, reach up with your left hand. Breathe into that left rib cage, taking reverse twisted warrior. 1 more breath here. Then windmill the hands down, either side of that right foot. Step your right foot back to plank. Lift the hips back to down dog. Take a vinyasa of your choice to include or not include that push-up. I'm going option 2, release to a hover. Push into those hands, full plank. Release then all the way to the mat. Untuck the toes. Push into the hands, lift the chest, up dog. Making your way back to down dog. Either transitioning through that child's pose or rolling straight over those toes with straight legs. So the left side with those 3 poses. Weight comes into your right foot as you raise that left leg up to the ceiling. Hips stay neutral, right heel squeezes to the floor. Bring that knee into the chest. Gaze in between the hands as you step your left foot through. Stay on the toes of the back foot. Raise those arms up to high lunge for a breath. Then lean forward with the torso, flying warrior. Keep those arms lifted. Left knee bent, right leg straight, hips nice and low. Easy breath here. Then lift those shoulders back over those hips. Right hand comes forward, left hand comes back, turn, twist to the left. Taking that twisted warrior, left knee still bent, right leg still straight. Try not to lean too far forward with the torso, keeping it stacked in the centre of the feet. Then bring your left hand down the back of the right leg, right hand lifts, breathe into that right kick rib cage. Maybe take a gaze up to that right hand. Then windmill the hands down, either side of that left foot. Step your left foot back to plank. Lift the hips back to down dog. Take a vinyasa of your choice. I'm taking option 3, forward to plank, inhale. Turn the creases of the elbows, release to a hover. Push into the hands, lift the chest. Release back to a hover. Roll over the toes, lift up the chest. Making your way back to down dog. Either chest to thighs or straight legs, or meeting back in that space. When you've taken down dog for a breath, bring yourself to the knees, maybe your sit bones to your heels, foreheads to the mat. Maybe just take a moment, relaxing through those shoulders, bringing the hands down by the side of the legs if you need to. Choice maybe to take on some water if you wish. Rehydrate whenever needed. So we have the full flow of those knees lifted with all 6 poses on both the right and left side. And then at the end, we're going to do the full flow on both sides with knee down and knee lifted. So we'll be transitioning through lots of different poses on the left and lots of different poses on the right. Take another breath here. Then when you're ready, coming up onto those hands and knees, bringing the heel of the hands underneath the shoulders, stepping back to a plank, lifting the hips back to down dog. Take a breath in down dog, relax through the neck and the shoulders. Weight comes into your left foot as you raise that right leg. Hips stay neutral, left heel squeezes to the floor. Then bring that knee into the chest, gaze in between the hands, step that from right foot through. Drop the left heel down, raise the arms. Find warrior one, palms together or apart, right knee bent. Find warrior two, right hand forward, left hand back. Sink into those hips a little deeper. Turn the right palm, reach forward, send it to reverse warrior, left hand down the left leg, or find that bind onto that right thigh. Breathe into that right rib cage, gaze up to that right palm. Bring those shoulders back over those hips. Then bring your left arm down, around, come onto the toes of the back foot as you raise the arms up towards the ceiling. Then lean forward with the torso, coming into that flying warrior. Stabilise the feet, push into that mat. Then lift those shoulders back over those hips. Left hand forward, right hand back, taking that twisted twisted warrior to the right side of the room. Right hand comes down the back of the left thigh as you raise that left arm. Maybe look into that left palm, breathe into that rib cage on the left side. Reverse twisted warrior. Then bring both hands down, either side of that right foot, step it back to plank. Lift the hips back to down dog. Take that vinyasa choice of yours, forward to plank. If you want to drop the push-up, drop the push-up. I'm coming option one, untucking the toes, elbows graze the ribs to a hover. Push into those hands, lift the chest away. Then release back down. Push into the hands, take it into your back bend. Then take it back through child's pose or rolling straight over the toes with straight legs. Lifting the hips, squeezing the heels back. Ready to take on that left side. Weight into your right foot, left leg lifts. Hips stay neutral, right heel squeezes to the floor. Bring that knee to the chest, gaze in between the hands, step your left foot through. Drop your right heel down, bring the arms up, find warrior one. Palms together or apart, left knee bent, right leg straight, pushing into the outside edge of that right foot. Warrior two, left hand forward, right hand back, turn the shoulders and hips to the right, arms out long, hands at shoulder height, bums tucked under, lower belly's lifted. Turn the left palm, reach forward, send it up to the ceiling, right hand down the back of the right leg or find the bind onto the left thigh. Try not to dump into that lower back, tether those ribs and hips, breathe into that left rib cage. Bring those shoulders back, find warrior two, then scoop your right arm down, around, come onto the toes of the back foot, raise the arms up towards the ceiling, back leg straight, left knee bent. Lean forward to flying warrior. Holding that torso at the 45-degree angle with the muscles through the back. Then lift those shoulders back over those hips. Right hand forward, left hand back, twisted warrior. Shoulders to the left, hips facing that short edge. Then bring your left hand down the back of the right thigh, right hand lifts. Breathe into that rib cage, that space on that right side. Maybe gazing up to that right hand. Then windmill the hands down either side of that left foot. Step back to plank. Lift the hips back to down dog. Take a vinyasa, or if you wish to take a drink, drop the vinyasas if you wish. Forward to plank on the inhale and option 2. Release down to a hover, elbows graze the ribs, push into the hands, lift the chest away, core centre stays strong. Release down to the floor, unturn the toes, push into the hands, lift up the chest. Release that chest back down to under with the toes. The chest comes back to the thighs. We push into the hands, we push into the feet, we lift up the hips and squeeze those heels back. Just take a moment in child's pose. We're going to do the 6 poses of knee down, then the 6 poses of knees up on one side, and then take it on the other. So maybe you want to take on a little water, maybe you want to just take on some restorative breathing in child's pose. Maybe you want to do another vinyasa, whatever that body requires. One more breath in this space. So it's going to be lots of transitions, so really concentrate on those instructions as I give them. Starting off with our knee down on one side. Find your way through tabletop first. Heel of the hands under the shoulders, step both feet back to plank. Once you've found plank, lift the hips without fussing with those hands and feet. Relax the head, relax the shoulders. Weight comes into your left foot as you raise that right leg up, hips stay neutral, left heel squeezes to the floor. Bring that knee to the chest, come onto the toes of the back foot as you step your right foot through. Drop that back knee and tuck the toes, raise the arms, palms together. Warrior 1, knee down, hips pushing forward. Find Warrior 2, right hand forward, left hand back. So we turn the shoulders, turn the hips slightly, turn the right palm, reach forward, send the right hand to the ceiling, left hand down the back of that left leg. Then bring those shoulders back over those hips, scoot the left arm down, around, send it up to the ceiling with both. Reach forward with the torso, finding that flying warrior. Then lifting those shoulders back over the hips, your left hand comes forward, your right hand comes back. Turn, twist to that right side. Rotation from the waist. Right hand down the back of the left thigh, left hand lifts up towards the ceiling. Bring the hands back, shoulder height. Scoop your right arm down, around, send it up to the ceiling. Bring the hands to the hips, tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee. Drop that left heel internally, hips and shoulders still facing the front. As you raise the hands up to the ceiling, right knee still stays bent. Warrior 1, back knee lifted. Then right hand forward, left hand back, find Warrior 2. Right knee squeezing out to that right edge of the mat. Turn the right palm, reach forward, send the right hand to the ceiling, left hand either down the back of the left leg, or finding that bind onto that right thigh, reverse warrior. Then finding your Warrior 2 again for a breath. Scoot your left arm down, around, bring it to meet the right, come onto the toes of the back foot, raise the hands to the ceiling, right knee bent. Lean forward to your flying warrior. Lift those shoulders back over those hips. Your left hand comes forward, your right hand comes back, and we turn twisted warrior to the right side. Then bring your right hand down the back of the left thigh, left hand lifts, twisted reverse warrior. Then windmill the hands down either side of that right foot, step back to plank, lift the hips back to down dog. Take a flow vinyasa of your choice, or child's pose, or take on some water. Choice to take that push-up plank, or just vinyasa 3. I'm taking option 3, hovering back down, Rolling over the toes, lifting up the chest, thighs stay away. I'm making my way back with straight legs, or bring your chest back to the thighs through child's pose, or meeting back in down dog. Ready to take that last flow on that left side. Weight comes into your right foot as you raise that left leg. Right heel squeezes to the mat. Bring that knee into the chest. Gaze in between the hands. Step your left foot through. Drop your right knee down and tuck the toes. Raise the arms, palms come together. Knee down, warrior one. Push those hips forward, engage through that center line. Squeeze the bum. Then left hand comes forward, right hand comes back, palms face down. Warrior two, back knee down. Turn the left palm, reach forward, send that left hand up to the ceiling. Right hand down the back of the right leg, reverse warrior knee down. Bring those shoulders back over those hips. Scoop your right arm down, around, bring it forward to meet the left, send them up to the ceiling. Then reach forward with the hands, flying warrior. Relax the shoulders, lengthen the arms. Bring those shoulders back over those hips. This time right hand forward, left hand back, palms face to the left, shoulders face to the left, hips face forward to the front edge of the mat. Then bring that left hand down, the back of the right thigh, right hand lifts, maybe gaze up into that right hand. Then bring those hands back to shoulder height. Scoop your left arm down, around, bring it forward to meet the right. Raise the hands to the ceiling. Then tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee. Drop your right heel down, hips and shoulders facing the front. Warrior one with the back knee lifted. Palms together or apart. Bend into that left knee. Then bringing your left hand forward, your right hand back, palms face down. Warrior two. Back knee lifted, left knee squeezing out to the side, lower belly lifting, crown of the head stacked on top of the tailbone. Then left hand reaches forward, the palm faces up, and you send the right hand down the back of the right leg, or bring it around to bind onto that left thigh, gazing into that left palm. Breathe into that rib cage on the left side. Bring the arms back to shoulder height. Scoop your right arm down, around, come onto the toes of the back foot, raise both hands to the ceiling. Lean forward with the torso, flying warrior. Strength of the back to hold the torso in this space. Then lift those shoulders back over the hips, right hand forward, left hand back, turn, twist to the left, palms facing out to the left. Still keeping the left knee bent, right leg straight, hips nice and low. Then take it to reverse twisted warrior, left hand down the back of that right thigh, right hand lifts. Maybe gazing up to that thumb, that palm. Then windmill the hands down, either side of the left foot. Step your left foot back. Hold it in plank for a breath. Lift the hips, squeeze those heels back. Vinyasa of your choice, forward to plank, inhale and back to option one. Dropping the knees and tucking the toes, releasing to a hover, elbows graze the ribs, push into the hands, lift the chest away. Release back down to the floor, push into the hands, lift up the chest, back bend, making your way back to down dog. Chest to thighs, pushing into the hands, pushing into the feet, lifting up the hips and squeezing those heels back. Taking a nice, easy breath in. Long breath out. Walking the feet into the centre. Walking the hands back to the feet, bending the knees as much as you need to. Take a hold of the elbows, let go of the head. Maybe give those arms a circle in one direction. Then take those circles the other way. Then let those hands become heavy, arms heavy. Slowly curl up through that spine, one vertebra at a time. Bring yourself all the way up to standing. It would only be right to do that standing warrior three pose, being as we've been doing that dancing warrior throughout. So bringing your weight into your left leg, bring your hands onto your hips, keep the hips neutralised as you raise that right leg up to hip high. Bring the toes of that right foot back towards the shin of that right leg. Have a focal point, then start to lean forward with the torso, back with the right heel. So we straighten that right leg without lifting through that right hip. The gaze is maybe now down towards the floor. When you've found a good place of balance, maybe bring the hands to the chest, palms together. If you wish to take it a little more challenging, reach the hands forward, sending those limbs long, challenging the balance a little more. Keep pushing that right heel back, straightening that right leg by engaging that upper thigh. Feeling that stretch of the armpits if the arms are long. Holding it this place just for one more breath. Bring the hands back to the chest if the arms are long. Bring the hands then back to the hips. Slowly bring that right leg back through, back up to hip height. Bring your right foot down to meet the left. Take a paddle of the feet. And then we'll take it on the other side. Weight comes into your right foot. Keep your hands on your hips. Keep the spine tall, the hips neutral. Put your weight into your right leg as you lift that left knee up to hip height and bring those left toes back to the shins. Find a focus, find the balance on that right standing leg. Then start to lean forward with the torso, back with the left heel. Pushing that heel away, straightening the leg with the upper thigh on that left side. Once you've found that balance, maybe bring the hands to the chest. If you want to take those limbs longer, sending those hands forward, biceps by the ears. Feeling the lift of that left leg up as much as you can. Keep that balance, keep that grounding in that right foot, left toes back to the shins. If those arms are long, bring those hands back to the chest. Then bring the hands to the hips. Slowly bring that leg back through, up to hip height. Release that left foot to meet the right. Take a paddle of the feet. A little movement through those hips. Bringing your feet out, so heels are on, toes are slightly off. Palms come together in the chest. Start to bend into those knees, bringing those bums down low. Getting that external rotation of those hips. Keeping the chest high. Trying to keep that head on top of the spine. Keep pushing into those outside edges of the feet. Maybe close the eyes here, just to switch in with how those hips feel. Connect back to the breath. Knowing that you've worked really, really hard through that dancing warrior sequence. One more breath here. Then releasing those hands behind you, bring the bums to the mat, heels to the front, toes towards the shins. Breath in, raise those hands to the ceiling. And on your breath out, fold over the legs. Bring the hands to either the shins, the ankles or the feet. Breathe in, elongate. Breathe out, draw the abdominals back as you fold over those legs. Just a couple of breaths in this forward fold, that more restorative movement, that restorative stretch. Then curl up slowly through that spine. As the shoulders stack over the hips, bring the arms up to shoulder height. Then slowly bring yourself down to the floor with control, using those long limbs, that core strength you've been building, to bring those shoulders to the floor, the head to the mat. Arms come to cactus arms, take a bend in both knees. And then just let the knees, with the knees and heels together, come over to the right side and the gaze to the left. Just let everything settle for a couple of breaths. That left shoulder stays down. The head's turning towards that left elbow. So we get that rotation in that upper spine. Bring those knees back through center. Take those knees then over to your left side, your gaze to your right elbow, turning and twisting through the upper spine, the lower spine. Shoulders facing up, hips facing to the left. Right shoulder being encouraged as close to the mat as it can. And bring those knees back into centre. Keep the knees in the centre, heel toe the feet out to the edges of the mat. Let's take a hip flexor stretch, so let the knees drop to the right without the feet coming any closer than mat width apart. The gaze to the left, feel that stretch down the front of that left hip. Slightly different twist to what we've just done. Then bring those knees back into centre, let them drop internally for a breath. Then take the knees over to the left, the gaze to the right without the feet moving. Feel that stretch down that right hip flexor. Bring those knees back into centre. Heel toe the feet together. Let the knees drop out to the side, soles of the feet stay in the centre. Maybe bring the hands down by the sides of the body or onto the hips. Taking a couple of moments in this butterfly pose, bound ankle pose. Choice, you can either stay here for relaxation or maybe straighten those legs out long to the ends of the mat, bringing them either mat width apart or hip width apart. Bring the hands down by the sides of the body, let the palms face up, those fingers gently curl. Try and push those shoulders down to create some space between the ears and the shoulders. Maybe lift that tailbone, tuck the tailbone under, bring that lower back into the floor. Maybe just have a little rock of those hips from side to side. Take a turn of the head in one direction, bring it back through centre, taking it over to the other side. Back to the middle. Take an easy breath in through the nose and a long sigh out through the mouth. And just take a few moments here just to consolidate everything that you've just done in practice. Making sure that you have that sensation of everything being weighted to the floor, not holding any muscles. If you feel you're holding something, maybe give that muscle a squeeze, then let that muscle relax. Close the eyes. Let the tongue drop away from the roof of the mouth and the lips gently part. Soften the jaw, the forehead. Just follow your natural automatic breath. So your choice can be to stay here. If you're coming with me, maybe take a wriggle of those fingers, a wriggle of the toes, maybe some rotation into those wrists and ankles. Then if you wish to take a full body stretch, stretching the hands up and over the head, stretching the fingers, the toes, maybe arching into that lower back, maybe taking a yawn. Then bringing the hands back up and over, bringing the knees into the chest, just having a little rock of that body from side to side, massaging that spine, thanking it for practice. Then taking a roll over onto your right side, make a pillow with the hands. Take a couple of easy breaths in this fetal position. And then when you're ready with the eyes closed, bring yourself up into a seated position, either cross-legged on the knees or the legs out in front, bringing the hands onto the thighs, head slightly bowed, shoulders relaxed, spine tall. On your breath in, bring those hands up and over the head, bring the palms together at the top, then bring the hands down to the chest, soft gaze to that floor. Have peace in your thoughts, your words, your hearts. From my heart to yours, Namaste.